Hello, welcome to the Snap UK podcast's sister YouTube show, which is the Picks. So this is where myself, Fourth and Inches, Johnny Thrash, and Griff.
Hello.
Since roughly about, let's say week 9. I'm going to say week 9 every week, and eventually, it's the Mandela effect. The lie becomes the truth. So from week 9 of
Which
the NFL
Mandela?
Boris Mandela.
Not Winnie Mandela.
The guy I went to school with, Boris Mandela.
I love that we just got into late 80s and early 90s politics there. Well done, everyone.
And back in the room.
Yeah, so we are going through this. We're going to have a look at the upcoming fixtures of the National Football League. We are going to predict who's going to win from our various degrees of knowledge and expertise around the subject. We've been doing a podcast for a few years, and you're only watching it if you listen to you're only watching this if you listen to the podcast, so you know what we're on about. So with that, I think we're also adding a competition element to this, and it was double points playoffs of the wicked wild card round of the NFL playoffs.
I'm really hoping we're doing triple points in the divisional round, or I'm out, I believe.
No. Let's go into should we go into the scores?
Yeah,
I'd like to know the standings, because we came into last week with myself 2 points ahead of Michael and 1 point ahead of you, John.
You were 2 points ahead of me and 3 points ahead of Michael.
Yeah.
And because
because you two couldn't handle the fact that with less games I was more likely to win, you used a mob rule against me to change the game to make it easier for you two to win.
That's modern democracy.
Then I would have picked the football team anyway, meaning it's absolutely pointless. But yeah, last week, me and you, Paul, ended 3-3. Michael 4-2.
Oh yeah.
So Michael jumps into second place, 1 point behind. So technically 87 and 38, 86 and 40, and I'm on 85 and 40 because I haven't counted losses as double.
Does this mean we're sticking with double points only this week then?
Double points because
triple points. It
I
makes
like the
this
idea of
unfair.
getting away to the final and it being like 8 points for a week.
I think double points for playoffs. Just otherwise, I think whoever's picked first is just gonna find that two people copy them.
I mean, I would like this to get to the point where the Super Bowl is the thing that decides this.
Yes.
So I'd like to completely engineer the points for that to happen. But I think there's some games in here that I think are going to be unanimous picks. There's some games in here. There's one game in here which I think won't be.
Only one.
I think there's only one.
Well, of course.
I think there's two that could be a bit either way.
Yeah, I think two.
That's fine. No problem.
Of course, last week we also had Sarah, my friend Sarah, picking. She was 3-3. She was 3-3. So
she can pick again.
I've totaled it up. So Paul is on a 0.68 success
That's playoff
rate.
forms.
It is playoff form, yeah.
Me and Griff both at 0.67. Because actually, if it wasn't for thing, we'd have very similar scores. And guests.
But to be fair, Griff was in a different division to you, so that's why he jumps ahead.
And guests are at 0.58. So sort of NFC East.
It shows you how much it is just about basic guesswork when three people that don't know anything about it have managed to guess more than half the correct result. Just saying. Just saying.
I mean, it could say more about the integrity of the league, however way you want to look at it.
It's been it's been a strange year. So I think it is a year where effectively you could do quite well just by picking at random, because
Well, actually, you say that people picking at random are picking less than us. So the informed choice is the way forward. So what you're saying is, I'm better than any woman guest.
Yes. Basically, if you're playing a predictions game against somebody who has no knowledge of American football whatsoever, you should beat them.
Yeah.
That's all we've learned from this so far.
Brilliant.
I think out of all the lessons we could have learned, that was the one I wanted.
But yeah, especially have to play your yards right on Tuesday.
Yeah. That did not go well for some of us.
Yeah, that's now banned.
Yeah.
From it. So let's start by going into these divisional round games. So we start at 9:35 Greenwich Mean Time on Saturday. And that would be 4:35 Eastern Time if you're an American fan. But clearly you should know that. We have the Los Angeles Rams going over to face the Green Bay Packers. And I'm going to start with this by going with Green Bay. Comfortably.
Yes, I'm going to agree with you. Mainly because they've been brilliant. They've lost, 6 games since Matt LaFleur took over. And they're playing at home in the cold, where Jared Goff has never thrown a touchdown at 35 degrees or below. Like, I was surprised that the Rams won so handily against the Seahawks. And this defense is brilliant. But the Packers have only conceded 17 points or fewer in 4 of their last 5 games as well. So it's not like the Rams are going to be able to score a great deal of points. I think Rodgers and Co are storming this. I think we need to see which Aaron Donald turns up. He was injured in the last game. He says he's okay, but unless he plays every snap and plays every snap well, they'll really struggle.
You have got an O-line without David Bakhtiari.
Yes, you do. That is true.
That's interesting.
Did they not just sign Jared Valdir, who signed for the Colts to play last week after being in retirement all year? And then when the Colts got knocked out, I think he signed for Green Bay for this week. I'm fairly sure I saw that pop up on my screen. Jared Valdir hadn't played much at all, if any, this season, and then has played for 2, or will have played for 2 playoff teams in 2 weeks.
They've put him on the reserve or COVID-19 list.
Epic fail. Perhaps he wasn't eligible to play because you have to be isolated for so many weeks. But I think regardless, even if Rodgers gets sacked 3 or 4 times, they'll still win. The weather is always on their side.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's strange. Like 6 weeks before the end of the season, I was like, Packers, I think they're going to do really. I think they're having a great season, and I think it'll be great until they get to the playoffs and they just lose. And now I don't think that anymore. I think they're just getting stronger and stronger, and I think they've got the best match. I mean, that's why you have the seedings. They've got the best matchup this weekend. Donald, if he's there or he's not, if he's there, it'll make it harder. But I think on the offense, the LA Rams are just a bit beat up, and I think this is a game too far.
Yeah, I think also you look at the matchups of offense v defense. All right, Jalen Ramsey could keep Devontae Adams quiet. Absolutely, he's kept many other people quiet. It's what he does better than anyone. He's the best cornerback in the league. But there's multiple other creator player from Madden that Aaron Rodgers can throw to.
Yeah.
If you have Jair Alexander locking down, which he could also is very capable of doing, if he locks down Robert Woods, the Rams are less of an option. Or he locks down their WR1. The Rams aren't the same.
I saw a great thing on The Athletic this week about what's the difference between Aaron Rodgers this year and last year. And effectively, the difference is this year, Lazard, Valdez-Scantling, all the other wide receivers aren't dropping. That's all it is. Like if they'd have been able to catch last year, Rodgers could be looking at back-to-back MVPs, quite frankly. But they have picked it up this year. If you lock down Devontae Adams, well, there's Lazard, there's Tonyan, Valdez-Scantling can go and get you an 80-yard touchdown. Aaron Jones, because they have a balanced
elite
offense. Yeah, even then, Jamal Williams can come in and make a big play when needed. They're just too good, and This would be the biggest shock if the Rams come out of this.
The key thing here is number one scoring offense against number one scoring defense, and in the postseason, number one scoring offense always wins.
Yep,
just how it is.
cool.
So we know where we go there. We have a unanimous Green Bay.
Yep.
The next game is where I feel we'll have our first split decision, which is Baltimore at Buffalo.
It was split on the Tuesday podcast, wasn't it? Because I went with the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm going to stick with that.
I'm taking the Bills.
I am also taking the Bills. The Bills are who I think could win it all.
If the Bills get past this, they win it all. But
I don't know about that.
I think they're great.
I still think Green Bay are a better team if they come head to head in terms of scoring. I think if the Bills only play as well as they did last week, they won't win. I just think they'll play better. I think that was one of their worst performances in the second half of the season, and they won. They scraped through. But I think this is one of these, it's a step too far for the Ravens. Just think if the Ravens' defense plays that well again, it will be just about enough. But that was the best I've seen the Ravens' defense play in most of the season. They haven't been that good. Like, they had pressure on the quarterback. Their secondary was excellent. Good coverage. They played really well. If it turns into a shootout, which is what I more likely think it will be, I just think the Bills have more weapons, and so they win. I know you can't stop Lamar running. I know you can't stop J.K. Dobbins running. But downfield, if I'm picking someone to throw a 40-yard, 50-yard bomb to win this game, I'm taking Josh Allen because they didn't quite play as well as they should have last week, and I think they'll be keen to stamp some authority on this game. I do not think this is an easy one to call. This is, of all of them, this is the hardest one. And had I woken up on a different day, I might have changed my mind from the Tuesday pod and taken the Ravens. But I'm going to stick with it because in the battle of these two quarterbacks, I think Josh Allen is now the better of the two in terms of passing, and I'll go with that in this game.
I think they did a very good job shutting down Derrick Henry.
Mm.
So they took out, let's be fair, the main offensive threat of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Buffalo are a team that can mix it up.
Yeah.
And have multiple ideas, and I just can't see them shutting Buffalo down the same. So I'm going with Buffalo. So John, you're going with Bob. So we have our first split decision.
A split decision.
This is where John could make the comeback.
Or I could fall further behind.
Let's hope so. So the next game we have is 3:05 Eastern Time. We have the Cleveland Browns going over to Arrowhead to face the Kansas City Chiefs and get absolutely butt-fucked by them.
I so wanted to take the Browns in this.
Yeah, same as.
They were phenomenal against the Steelers. They were really good, but it was almost as much about the fact the Steelers were so terrible, which is really unfair to say because the Browns played really well. I think this will be a closer game than people are giving it credit for, but I still think ultimately Kansas City, this isn't the week where they come undone. If they come up against the Bills, I think they come undone, but not against the Browns, not for me. But only by a score. It won't be a hammering because we haven't seen the Chiefs do that all season. Yeah. They win one game by more than 9 points this season. It wasn't many.
I agree with you. The Chiefs are playing two teams that have a history of playing down. But
yeah,
I just think this is a step too far for Cleveland. I think Cleveland as a franchise, since they were reactivated, they won't know how to cope with this.
Anybody know the last time the Browns won multiple postseason games?
1994?
2002?
1950.
Of course, yeah.
Wow.
1950. Back when they won I think it was the AAF. They won that before they joined the NFL.
The Otto
I
Graham
believe it was
days.
just a single championship game that they used to play. I think it was just first versus second in the AAF, and that was the title. So they didn't have to do it. They didn't have to win multiple games, and they've never been to the Super Bowl because they don't win multiple games. So, as much as it would be the best story. And by the way, I never thought after the years that the Bills screwed up their Super Bowl chances, I never thought another team would be seen as the sweet success story in the postseason over the Bills. But the Browns are taking that one at the moment. But I can't see it. Andy Reid, 7-0 versus the Browns in his head coaching career. No, it's not the same Browns, but it's Andy Reid. If the Browns pulled this off, I don't know. It would be. Can you think of a more shocking postseason upset?
Yeah, the Browns beating the Steelers.
The Jags beating the Steelers.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I was more thinking when the Giants beat the undefeated Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, possibly. That's
the biggest. That was one of the biggest upsets, and this would be right there. This would be right there with that for me.
Yeah,
I mean, I love it, and as well, I do wonder if because the Chiefs effectively will have had 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Compared to everyone else. So there may be a bit of rust. And if the Browns can get a start like they did against the Steelers, admittedly assisted by the Steelers.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they can do that, then,
So what you're saying is they need Pouncey to go and play centre for the Chiefs?
Possibly. But
I hope this is never recorded as a segment, just a piece of audio on its own. I'd rather take a rusty Mahomes.
Yeah, and that's it. He was rusty against the Texans last year, wasn't he? Yeah. And he came back with like 40 unanswered points.
Yeah, they were 21 points down, or
21 points down.
Yeah.
And also, the media is playing this as the Texas Tech boys. This is the rematch of that ridiculous game in college football. Mahomes is going to be super motivated to destroy them.
Yeah, but it's a really good story that the Browns are there, especially like they beat the Steelers without their head coach last week. He's back, which will help. But still, I think it's, once again we've said it before, and I think it's just a game too far.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But another good off season. Let's see what they do next year, because actually, it would be nice to see a Browns team with some stability, a bit of a change in the right place on the team. I think it's all good. It's all good news for Cleveland.
This could be you remember when the Bills got to the playoffs with T-Mobile?
Yes.
It made them feel a viable team. It made them more attractive on free agency. This is what the Browns needed.
Yeah.
This makes them more attractive on free agency. This makes them more attractive as a destination for draft picks. This makes them...
For years, I've been saying everyone on the Browns is associated with losing, because they are. And that has changed now.
Yeah.
They are. They're a young team.
Now.
They are now viable. Who'd have thought it? They're one of the top 8 teams in the league.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Terrifying. So if we go to the final game that we have here, we've had nothing but youth. Aaron Rodgers is an island of his own. But we have the seniors competition with Tampa Bay versus New Orleans, which is at Mercedes-Benz.
The
Superdome.
Super duper dome.
The Silver Dome, brother.
The old MAGA quarterback versus the other.
I think I'm the only one who hasn't picked first, so I'll stick with my Tuesday pick. I'm taking the Bucs. I think you were talking about games too far. I know the Saints have been good, but Tom Brady is outplaying any player we've seen over the age of 40, including Drew Brees, easily.
Easy.
Brees hasn't gone off the cliff yet, but that cliff is hurtling towards him. And I can't see it. I know they've got Kamara. I know they've got Taysom Hill. I accept that they could win this game, but the Bucs should win this game. So I will take the loaded offense and the very, very good defense.
If Drew Brees' cliff, he's not hurtling off it yet. He's currently, it's the end of Thelma and Louise. He's revving the engine and he's about to jump off it. I think this is the last we see of him. I mean, Hall of Fame is a certainty. You know, what a player he's been. Unfortunately, he's come up again. He's coming, Sean Payton, they're coming up against the informed team in the league right now. And it's not, you know, I know they've lost twice to them already, but it's not what you do in the season. It's what you do. It's where you peak at the end. And I think they're just peaking at the right time.
That applies to so many things in life. Yes,
it does.
True.
This is the lowest yardage total Drew Brees has had since 2003.
Yeah, he has missed games, plenty of them, but
he's played more games than he did in 2003. He played more games than last year. He's had less. He's had less completions than last year in more games.
My favourite stat was Drew Brees being 5-2 against Tom Brady all time, which is the best record among current quarterbacks. Among any quarterbacks.
Yeah.
5-2. He doesn't often lose to Brady. He's played him very close and very well, but this is not, like, to Paul's point, this is not vintage Drew Brees. It's still vintage Tom Brady. Like, you don't have to like it, but it's true. He just threw 40 touchdowns. He's 43 years old. That's insane. I know he's got all the talent. You can't blame him for picking that team to go to. So, yeah, I don't know. Is it Evans? Is he definitely going to play? Has anyone seen?
He's slated to, apparently. Yeah, he's not got an injury designation.
I can't find myself a way to say that the Bucs lose this as long as they play as they should. There always seems to be a caveat with them because they've had some really poor performances this season.
I agree. Yeah. I think this is a lot of people I've seen in kind of analysis elsewhere on Twitter, analysis that I've seen on TV. They talk about the games that have already happened this season between the Saints and the Buccaneers. And for me, that's not comparable.
It means nothing.
That's why I picked the Ravens over the Titans.
This season more than anything. So I'm going for the Bucs as well.
Actually, I mean, Lattimore and Mike Evans is always fun. They truly hate each other. So that'd be cool. A nice sort of side story. But yeah, I worry that however great the Packers are, this Bucs team are on the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'll be picking the Bucs in Lambeau.
That's possibly a
worry for another time, but you're not going to as easily persuade me of that one. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but yeah, no.
So
really
are you going Buccaneers as well, fence sitter?
Me?
Yes.
I'm not. No Buccaneers. It won't be a large victory, but the Buccaneers are going to win this.
Okay. So we have our predictions for this week. If you feel that we've predicted incorrectly, go screw yourself. Yeah. Do your own podcast. Do your own YouTube show. You've got a problem with it, do your own one. Invite me to it. And I won't listen because I've got my opinion, right? Who are you? No, in all seriousness, if you do have an opinion, please speak to us through our various social media channels, which are, Johnny?
The Snap UK, at the Snap UK on Twitter and Instagram, and I think the Snap UK podcast on Facebook.
And also on YouTube.
And on
think
YouTube,
this is-
yeah.
You think this is the 3 worst haircuts ever assembled on a podcast?
No,
Because
I can't think of them any worse, but like it, there's plenty of people talking about the NFL, and I'm sure that I've seen a few that have some shocking haircuts. I'm not quite
Going.
mullet phase.
Gone.
yeah, it's like I don't know. It's just an odd combination. John's hair long and curly, Paul's hair not really, and mine's gone triangular. I've noticed. It's,
You're going very 2002 Ronaldo, which I like.
You mean Fat Ronaldo?
No.
You want me to have the bit just at the front? Because
There's only one Ronaldo.
Get rid of the rest and just literally have. I'm going for the Shearer's Island approach.
You are, yeah. If Shearer's Island was drowning in the sea.
So yeah, now we've made fun of each other's haircuts. If you have a dissenting opinion, sod off.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you all when we record our next one. The next game we have will be the championships game, won't it?
The Super Championship round.
Super Championship round. Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't. There's nothing as easy as wicked wild card.
No.
Doesn't
But yeah.
work for this.
No,
I did see somewhere that the reason they called it Super Wildcard is because they've tried to claim that super anything, such as Super Bowl, belongs to the NFL. So if they just keep using the word super, they can sort of trademark it, apparently.
Well, I won't be eating super noodles anymore then.
Well,
but yeah, supermarket.
I'm just telling you what I read. I didn't say it was true. I'm just telling you what I read. They do stop everybody from calling it the Super Bowl, don't they, on their podcasts and things?
Yeah.
Let's call it the championship game, apparently.
The final.
Well, no, because we'll be calling it the Super Bowl this year. So
yeah, the Super Bowl is different.
So we can claim Super off the NFL.
So now we've done trademark infringement, go visit us at Disneyland Paris. This podcast sponsored by Pepsi Max. It's definitely not for the purpose of trademark infringement. Definitely not. So thank you all for joining, and John, please delete the Pepsi Max part.